Mi gente, estamos live. Vamos a ver cómo nos van las cosas acá. Estamos todos tranquilos con la camarita. Vamos a empezar el segundo, the second chapter. We're finna start the second chapter of this episode of this book on Savage Shores. It's been a great read so far. I've been learning a lot. So let's get to it. Let's get ready. Let me set up the camera. It's rainy day here in in Georgia, repping that Seattle. Much love to the city, to my friends, to my family, my mother that's out there, my stepfather. A lot of love, a lot of good people, beautiful state. I love that state. I gotta go back one day. I gotta go and visit. Meanwhile, I'm here in Georgia, enjoying the process, enjoying the moment. Feeling good today, not tired, 10:30. So let's get to it. Second chapter in Savage Shores. It is easy to forget the language barrier. Hold up. Alright. It is easy to forget the language barrier when reading accounts which report direct and detailed conversations between indigenous people and invaders. European sources confidently recount eloquent speeches and complex negotiations, never mentioning the fact that the two parties would have had little or no sense of what the other was saying. Some of this startling confidence can, of course, be put down to literary convention. The grand oration supposedly exchanged by Cortés and Moctezuma evoke classical traditions, positioning the opponents as stately protagonists. Right? They are a reflection of writing conventions and readers' expectations rather than reality, absolutely. The language barrier could also be an advantage to colonizers. If your opponent doesn't really understand what you're saying, then it's easy to claim that they agree to all kinds of things. The accounts of colonization are frequently invented as much as they are observed, as Stephen Greenblatt wrote. The Europeans and the interpreters themselves translated such fragments as they understood or thought they understood into coherent story, and they came to believe quite easily that the story was that they had actually heard. But many of these discussions were not as unintelligible as we might think. From as early as 1493, exchanges were often facilitated by go-between people, usually indigenous but occasionally European, who stood between worlds as channels of communication and also of cultural exchange. Go-betweens, go-betweens become obvious by their absence if you're scrutinous scrutinize any account of an event where people spoke different languages and ask yourself, how could these people understand each other? Standing right in the middle of events, but totally invisible, must be another person, essential to the interaction, yet ignored by those who recorded it. The few stories we will follow in this chapter are emblematic of a mass of indigenous people who inhabited this in between space, between European and indigenous, between languages and cultures, between seen and unseen. They are always in the background interjecting. I mean, there's a lot of theories saying that we was already over there and we was the one that taught these people how to read, write, behave like humans when the Caucasoid came out the Caucasus Mountains. So if we're gonna believe that insight, then that's gonna change this a little bit. But if it was actually how they said it was, when these people came in and we didn't know what they was talking about. I kind of like the other story, how we taught them all, and it kind of reverted onto us because God knows what happened. But um, definitely, it'll still tell you, even if they didn't understand each other, or even if what I just said was to be true. History that was given to us and that was indoctrinated to us by since we was little, we know it to be fake, point blank and simple. Such meditation is often ignored in the sources, but it was invaluable to both sides. Unsurprisingly, though, it was the European who, desperate for local knowledge to promote their imperial enterprise, began to kidnap indigenous people with the explicit aim of training them as translators. One of Columbus's first thoughts after arriving in the Caribbean was to bring some of the native peoples to Spain so that they may learn to speak. What did I just say, though? They'll tell you that we learn to speak at least their language. But I mean, it's just hard to believe that these people developed any type of actual intelligence. It's hard to believe that these people over there developed any kind of even sailing skills to go from one continent to another. I mean, I just see it. mm, I just don't see it possible. I don't see it possible with utmost respect. I'm just a guy reading. I'm not a scientist, or not that I have to be believed, but I'm just somebody throwing out my opinion. If you like it, if you don't, it is what it is. You'll never know, and I'll never know, I guess, until the truth comes out. But that's what I stand on. He claimed that the first people he took by force from the Caribbean were quickly to learn Spanish, managing to communicate effectively through words and gestures within only a few months. The abduction of indigenous intermediaries is a ubiquitous part of European descriptions of encounter, explorers and colonizers carelessly describing the casual violence with which they acquired helpers for their missions. We have few records that would allow us to understand how indigenous people felt about such kidnapping. But an indigenous oral tradition recorded in 1807 describes the aggressive arrival of an English ship in Wampanoag territory in modern-day Massachusetts. As to traditions, there is, though but in a few mouths, an Indian tradition which purports that some ages past a number of white men arrived in the river in a bird, that the white man took Indians into the bird as hostages, that they took fresh water for their consumptions at a neighboring spring, that the Indians fell upon and slaughtered the white man at the spring, that during the affray thunder and lightning issued from the bird, that those hostages escaped from the bird, and that a spring now called White Spring, and from which there runs a brook called White Man's Brook, has its name from this event. Unlike many indigenous captives, these Indians managed to escape before being stolen away from their homeland. But this evocative image of an immense bird, a prominent character in eastern woodlands cultural belief which sometimes carried away humans, gives us a glimpse at the ways in which the invaders' actions may have been understood. Among the Taínos kidnapped by Columbus was a young man who we know only by his Spanish baptismal name, Diego Colon. Diego was just a boy when he met Columbus and seems to have developed a close bond with the admiral, becoming a guaitiao of his son, also called Diego. Taino people use guaitiao, friendship or brotherhood rituals to form ties of kinship and alliance. An exchange of names bonded people in guaitiao, making them perpetual friends and brothers in arms. And this ceremony was central to indigenous understanding of early Caribbean encounter in 1503. After days of vicious battle, a guatiao ritual was used to affirm a ceasefire between the Spanish and the Taino on Hispaniola. Native people were not passive recipients of European expectations. They too shaped the relationship. But even in the enactment of indigenous rituals, we see Spanish influence. Unlike in the Taino world, the adoptions of name became a hierarchical practice. Indigenous people took Spanish names, but we have no evidence of this happening the other way around. We might argue that Spaniards used the guaitiao ritual to draw people into their networks, or we could say that native people employed the guatiao ritual to promote their influence with these powerful new invaders. Come on, bro. It's all about perspective. From a Spanish point of view, this was certainly a paternalistic act. Indigenous people were adopted into their families, but this also mirrors some pre-contact indigenous kinship and adoption practices. And perhaps there is no record of Spanish adopting Taino names simply because all the records are Spanish. For Diego Colon, his guatiao with the Columbus's son effectively tied his fortunes to the admiral who would shape the course of his life. One of the first indigenous islanders to set foot on European soil, Diego was also one of the few to survive the trip and remain healthy, as most of his compatriots fell prey to the devastating disease that ripped through vulnerable indigenous populations. Lacking immunity and weakened by European invasion, native people were cut down in their millions. Diego, for some reason, resisted germs that assailed his compatriots and became close to his Guatiao father and brother, being brought up with his Columbus's own children and becoming his regular interpreter, according to the historian Peter Martyr. who knew the court circle well. On 26 February 1495, Columbus, writing to the king of his most recent exploits, mentioned this Indio that I bring, one of those who came to Castilla. He already knows how to speak our language very, very well. By this point, Diego was an experienced explorer, having risked the arduous journey across the Atlantic 4 times and assisted Columbus in his utterly disingenuous attempts to persuade the Taínos that he meant them no harm. Martir probably exaggerates to say that Diego was brought up by Columbus from his infancy, but he certainly became part of his extended family after returning to the Caribbean. Diego deployed his guatiao in reverse, consolidating his position amongst indigenous islanders by marrying the sister of a cacique called Guarionex, who wanted a more intimate friendship with the admiral. Sadly, we don't know anything about Diego's wife. Perhaps she was part of the reason he decided to stay in Hispaniola when Columbus returned to Spain from his second voyage in 1493. So you're saying what? That this motherfucker learned Spanish in a year? What you mean? Perhaps she was part of the reason he decided to stay on Hispaniola when Columbus returned to Spain from his second voyage in 1493. A decade later, it seems Diego was ready to risk the transatlantic voyage again. I'm sorry. For we have a record of 3 caciques traveling to Spain, along with one of their sons, a boy named Diego Colón. We cannot be certain that this was Columbus's adopted Taino son and interpreter, Diego, traveling with his own child, but it seems. I gotta look that up. Okay, so they're saying that he's his eldest son, but now this other boy is saying this man is saying that he was adopted. We cannot be certain that this Columbus adopted Taino son and interpreter, Diego, traveling with his own child, but it seems extremely likely, especially as when the elder Diego returned to Hispaniola to 1505, his 2 companions again having succumbed to the fate of so many and died in Spain. The boy remained at court, being educated, clothed, and supported by the crown. Accounts show that the chaplain Luis de Castillo was paid a moderate annual salary of 8,000 maravedis to feed and teach Diego el Indio, son of the cacique. Diego el Indio, with a Y. Man. And 1940. Ni puta idea. I mean, it's probably the same character. Diego el Indio, son of the cacique that the governor sent to, I don't know, Diego el Indio, son of the cacique. Diego el Indio, son of the cacique. Diego Columbus, Lucayan, I guess this one, Diego Colón. Ok. Sigue un conquistador español, semi-legendario, que se dice que vivió durante la colonización de las Américas. Según la leyenda de su muerte, hermano del pueblo indígena taíno, encendió la rebelión taína en 1511. Also known as Capitán Juan Argote. Es que this is also fucking interesting. Anyways. They also paid him around half this sum for clothing at significant expense, suggesting luxurious garments, which included shoes, hats, and shirts, all in the European style. Like his father, the younger Diego had become acculturated to Spain. This was a power play by indigenous nobles, but also a deliberate colonizing tactic by European authorities, who were determined to show that native people could be civilized through Christianity. A decree from the House of the Trade shows that they were very, very aware of the potential of these young nobles as they go between for their faith. In August 1505, the crown ordered that the Indio son of the cacique that has been made Christian continue to be very well treated treated with care for both his spiritual and temporal needs. Thus, they imagined when at God's pleasure he will return to Hispaniola, living here very content. The Indios will have knowledge of how they are treated here, and the things of the faith will thus be caused to be more lightly brought to them. So this was already okay. Unfortunately, the Diego fell in Spain. So I guess we're talking about, it's been a little bit more than a decade when they came, pillaged and started changing everything. We started to die off and be kidnapped and raped and taken to different lands. And then here comes their propaganda of saying, oh, Indio, son of the cacique that has been made Christian, continue to be very well treated with care for both. So this is when they started showing us that, oh, over there they got it good. Over there in Europe they got it good. Or over there in the United States they got it good. Which is what they be doing when we was growing up, when we was little. We was watching all these shows, these white people freaking acting and the music. We all wanted to learn how to speak English. We wanted to be like the actors, the singers. Everything was like all wrapped around that, like the kids show, SpongeBob and all that goofy ass. I mean, it's cool. I like that, like the kids shows. But when it comes to movies and songs and shit like that, and all that fuckery, bro. We wanted to be like them so much that when we come here, we realize that these people ain't got nothing. And it was probably the same in Spain, when we're thinking, and it's definitely still the same in Europe when it comes to sports and glamour and all that goofy ass shit. My people want to go be like, oh, a motherfucker from Germany comes, a motherfucker from there's a motherfucker from on YouTube. I'm about to be hating on this shit right now. Motherfucker from YouTube that I always see, he's always traveling. White dude from South Africa. I'm not even gonna say that motherfucker's name. But bro, the stupidity of our people thinking that this motherfucker is special just because he got motherfucking blue eyes, blonde hair, and white skin. They think he's some kind of god. Like that's part of the motherfucking indoctrination that has been going on and still been going on till now. Cause look, it seems like we don't know that these motherfuckers did this. What you mean? Like how they gonna come and we think that Europe, oh my god, this is the indoctrination. We think that these people are more than us. Bro, small ass country, bro. We got fucking everything. This is why they always wanna be over here, bro. In the Americas. And our ladies and our man bowing down, oh hey, come, just cause he got clout on YouTube and he white. They all wanna dick ride and shit, and they all the ladies throwing up, and he's motherfucker walking like he's doing something. Man, I'm hating. I'm about to be hating because this shit, bro, fucking pissing me off. This is one of the things. These motherfuckers that go to our countries, knowing that they know, one, it's cheap as fuck for them. Two, everybody thinks that they gods, bro. So we make their lives freaking amazing, bro. And then this other bitch, bro, Italian female in my city, Barranquilla, bro. All she does is eat, bro. All she does is over there saying and talking in her fucking stupid ass Italian accent. Bro, what the fuck is this bitch doing, bro? For real, like, just everything, every time. I love seeing their videos though, because I can just see this right now. I see what I'm reading in real life. I see these motherfuckers eating. And this bitch always be rolling her eyes. Just a pleasurable third dimension woman. That just because she got fucking blonde hair, green eyes, and she's from Italy, that my people think that she got some kind of superpowers, bro. No, my people, they enslaving you. Why you cooking meals for her? Why you get fucking 5,000 pesos, bro, for a fucking empanada you sold to her? So you can see how she can roll her eyes and be like, oh, this is so good, and film it. And act like she doing something for you, my people. Wake the fuck up. And amongst millions of other people that go to our country and do the same shit, bro. So, back to the topic, my fault. Unfortunately, the younger Diego fell ill in Spain and never lived to fulfill the crown's and very likely also his father's aspirations for him. He survived the first serious complaint, likely some kind of throat goiter in 1505, but perhaps weakened by his earlier illness. He died in Sevilla in August 1506 in the house of Juan Garcia Sanchez de la Plaza, who had been paid to look after him during the 2 months of his illness. How long did it take his father and mother to learn of this tragedy? Was the news delivered by the next fleet to arrive in the Caribbean? Did Columbus's family visit Diego during his illness? Did he die alone, with only the most perfunctory care? Or did Guatiao extend to nursing him during his last days? The elder Diego survived his son by a decade or so, and was even granted land and some indigenous charges to work it because he was considered so Hispanized. Yet even this stalwart translator, with his evidently strong immune system, died in his 30s, even likely succumbing to one of the waves of European diseases which batter indigenous communities in the 16th century. Again, bro, these people are dirty as hell. How can these people, bro, like, we can't believe, like, we can't say, like, these people had ships and these people got all kinds of fucking big ass marvelous cities. Of course, of course, of course. And then they fucking stink and they got disease. Come on, my bro. Come on, bro. How they gonna stink and have diseases? How they gonna have all this shit and be pulling up over here and we think they something when they got everything they got is disease and fucking the the ability to keep themselves dirty and fucking thrash our cities. I'm gonna have to end this shit right now because I don't know what the fuck, but I ain't going on notice. I'm about to go off, bro. Look outside. Look outside your town. Look outside your city. My people in the south of the Americas. Look outside of your city. Look outside your homes. Our streets are dirty as shit, bro. In Colombia, we got cities after cities after cities. Big ass cities, bro. Everything is city, 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 city. Obviously, not everything. But everywhere you go is a big ass city, right? Look how fucking dirty these places are, bro. And we ain't doing shit about it as people. We waiting for somebody to pay us to clean our own motherfucking bullshit that they came here and fucking thrashed. You got international companies, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Bimbo, fucking the candy bullshit, all the fucking fast food bullshit, McDonald's, bro, Burger King, all this bullshit that comes in fucking plastic bag. And they feeding you bullshit and they feeding nature bullshit. So what the fuck we gonna do about it when you look outside and it's dirty as fuck? But wait, the government's gonna come and clean some places. Nah, hell no, they ain't gonna do it. They paying the very own motherfucker that lives in that city in that little town to clean up little small shit that you pick up and put outside the street so that they can pick it up and take it to the garbage. You think that shit was from us? If these motherfuckers were bringing illnesses and all kinds of motherfucking bullshit and all kinds of wrong teachings, when our land is so motherfucking fertile that everything is green as shit and everything grows fucking fruits and veggies and animals all over. How we gonna put concrete on top of Mother Earth? How we gonna do that? Why would the fuck would we do that? Indoctrination. There's no other way around it. Of course, this reading, of course. Man, cause I'm going off on the motherfucker, bruh. I ain't stopping. So look outside. So who gonna do it? But when you go to the rich neighborhoods, then it's all clean and shit. But it's not clean, baby. You got concrete on top of that land. And before that concrete, there was motherfucking trees growing beautiful. So we still polluted. And this shit ain't loaded. Hey, man. And still polluted with these people. They're parasites. They're never ending motherfucking crooks. All the motherfucker in the governments. I'm talking specifically my city because that's where I'm feeling it the most. These motherfucking governors that has been there for the longest motherfucking time. We have done nothing about it. And our city is just getting dirtier and motherfucking dirtier and dirtier and dirtier. And we think that concrete is progress. What? Concrete is progress? They're building all this shit near the fucking sea so they can bring more tourists, motherfuckers. They're not bringing more, bro. They're bringing more tourists, so your dumbass has to go to their job because they're creating jobs, bro. What? They're creating slavery positions for you, so you can still serve the motherfuckers that come from another country. How can that be? It's not your people that's paying this. The motherfuckers, all the big ass hotels in front of the water. We're talking about Cartagena now. You get to motherfucker. Of course it doesn't work, but it ain't gonna stop me now, cause I'm about to go off now. All these hotels in front of the beach in Cartagena. Who the fuck be working in those places, bro? The indigenous people, the aboriginal people are working in those hotels, and who they serving? Motherfuckers from all over the world. They come here and they think they got the right to fucking go there. And they think they got the right to just pay you some money. And you what? You taking home what? 50,000, 80,000, 100,000 pesos, bro, al día. Yo no sé cuánto les pagan. I don't know how much they get paid over there. But I know they ain't getting paid shit, my boy. And so the indigenous people of that land have to work every fucking day so that these motherfucking crooks, stupid motherfuckers get to go there to the hotels with the infinite fiat money that they got. Get fucking food, get bitches, get drugs, and fucking thrash the fuck out your land. How does that even make sense, bro? How does it even make sense that the people get to do whatever the fuck they want, eat whatever the fuck they want, and then throw that garbage away? Our rivers are polluted, our cities are polluted. How the fuck is this? Like, come on. We cannot have this fucking mentality, because that shit come from them, because that's what creates diseases. And I said it previously, when they came here, it wasn't just smallpox. It was just smallpox, and then it fucking evolved to be all kinds of fucking diseases. My people are sick, the hospitals are full. People have heavy parasites in them, because the outside is dirty. That must mean that the inside is dirty as well. When we gonna wake up that this shit comes from them? This shit ain't ours. I'm telling you, everything is connected, bro. We got to do something about it. We got to do something of what's inside of us. Detox. So then we can go outside our own homes. Ain't nobody paying me to fucking clean up my shit. Like these motherfuckers, bro, they thrash the fuck out your land. They thrash the fuck out of my land. And you think I'm gonna keep doing so, bro? Fuck them, bro. Fucking fuck you. Bro, end of transmission. This shit got ended short, but I don't know what the fuck happened. I ain't gonna reset my computer, because that means I gotta stop the reading. Oh. Ooh. We read this part, but again, it's not letting me go beyond that. There we go. Alright, I guess I'm just gonna have to try tomorrow. I mean, I already went off for a little bit. We ended at 1:44, just a little bit of the reading, but we'll keep it going tomorrow. But I hope you got the message, my people. Wake the fuck up to the reality that has been going on. Now or never.